Today, we're gonna do the dumbest thing I could do, which is talk about electricity on YouTube. I'm joined by my buddy, Chris Cole, pro skater, but also fantastic woodworker. I'll link to his woodworking pages down below. You should go check out his work. Chris, thanks for joining us today.
Oh, my pleasure.
So we're gonna talk about how to put in a 220 volt, that's what it's typically referred to. It's actually 240 volt outlet into a panel. Now, luckily in my shop, we've got more electricity than we can handle, so we've got lots of room to do this, but I'm gonna talk you through how to do this if it's residential or commercial. I'm not an electrician, so I'm not gonna talk you through code. Code is gonna be different in every county, every state, so I'll let you guys fight about that in the comments. So let's come in and let's talk about the anatomy of an electrical panel and why we would do single phase 120, single phase 240, or three phase power for different tools. We're gonna talk about how to find that. A lot of this would work for if you were putting in a dryer or maybe like an electric car charger, but you're probably gonna have 4-wire with a neutral. It's gonna be 240 with a neutral. I'll explain why here in a second. So let me show you here in the panel. Okay, this area in the middle is called a bus bar. This is a very expensive panel, and so these breakers actually screw down. Typically in most panels, these will actually be next to each other and touching, but your breakers just connect to your panel with these clips. These will vary on different panels, so you do want to check and see what kind of breaker you have before you go to the store to get your breakers and your outlets and your plugs and all that. But we've got 3-phase, it takes up 3 spots on your bus bar. Single phase 120, it takes up 1 spot. And this is what we're after today, which is 240, often referred to as 220 volts when you're talking about tools, but this is what we're after. So we're gonna eliminate a bunch of these 3-phase outlets because we don't need them in the shop. We're gonna put in 240 for all our tools, and we're gonna talk about how to do that. But first, let's talk about how to find the amperage. You can see right here, this 50 on the switch here, that means 50 amps. That's typically gonna be for like a welding outlet or your car charger. You're gonna need a 50 amp breaker. For us, we only need 20 amps for all of our tools. And let me show you how I know that and where I find that. So this is how you decide what kind of breaker and outlet you want. Every single motor on all your tools in the shop is gonna have this information. If you hear about an EV charger or an appliance, this is information will all be in your manual or on it as well. Now you can see 3 horsepower motor, 60 hertz, that's American. In Europe, it's gonna be 50 hertz, 230 volt, that's right between 220 and 240, and 13 amps. So we know we're gonna round up to a 20 amp breaker, 20 amp outlet, and 20 amp plug on our machine. Now this is gonna be every machine in your shop, and you can find this information. You always wanna round up, like for example, my bandsaw can be wired in 120 or 240, and it uses 10 amps at 240 or 20 amps at 120. When you run a 2-pole single phase 240 outlet, you're gonna lower your amperage by half. And why is that? Well, electricity runs in a sine wave. So this is a 120 volt tool. It's gonna have power, no power. This is where it returns on the neutral. It's sort of like a bicycle pump. You pump air in, and then you have to pump air out, or you have to withdraw the handle to reload the air. That's how electricity works too. So when you run 240 volt outlet, they run opposite each other. And this is why you don't need a neutral wire in a 240 outlet, is because when this one is firing 120 volts, this one is returning it back to the box. This acts as your neutral, and they switch on and off, where it's like load, neutral, and then that switches, and that's why you can run at half the amperage, twice the voltage, and that's why those tools are always more powerful. That's why when you get into 3-phase, they run 3 phases of 120. They run 120 degrees opposite each other, not 180. That equals a full circle, 360 degrees, and that's why you can run even bigger tools. So like our 24-inch planer is 3-phase, our 8.7 horsepower spindles on our CNC are 3-phase, and you can run even bigger tools with 3-phase. All right, so let's talk about what you need. And there's tools you can obviously get by with. We all know there's 100 ways to do things, but you want to think about the gauge of your wire first. Where I live, 12 gauge for 20 amps is fine. You want to use 10 gauge for 30 amps, 8 gauge for 40, and 6 gauge for 50 amps. So here we have 12 gauge wire. Some places the code will allow for like Romex, where you don't have to put it in conduit, but we're gonna put ours in conduit. We're gonna use 3/4 inch EMT. This is actually 1/2 inch, but we actually have 3/4 inch. You're gonna want some of these connectors here. This connects to your boxes as well as to your panel, and this connects conduit together. Of course, we have our box. Every 240 outlet needs its own breaker. You can't run 2 off of the same breaker. You're gonna need an outlet and a plug and a breaker. Those all need to match. These are all 20 amp twist lock. You're gonna want a ground screw. I've seen people that don't ground their boxes, but I really like to ground mine. Usually code will require it, which then in turn grounds your conduit. Wire nuts, you don't want to use electrical tape in these kind of scenarios, or just tape stuff together. It fades over time, and I'm sure it's not legal. Typically, white is neutral, green is ground, black is hot, and then red would be your secondary hot. And if you are running a 3-phase outlet, blue would be your third 120 leg. We obviously don't need neutral, so we're not gonna use that. You're gonna want some clips for attaching your conduit to the wall. A pipe bender, you gotta remember they come in the size of the conduit that you're gonna have, so we're gonna use our 3/4 inch pipe bender. Here's a 1/2 inch, just because we have one. And then very useful, but not completely necessary depending on the length, is fish tape, which is gonna be, you know, a long, non-conductive cable that allows you to attach your wires and pull through long runs of conduit. Also, a screwdriver is really helpful. I like to use an impact for shooting stuff in. Typically, electrical is flathead or those square drive bits. And then, you know, if you have wires that are tough to pull through, a little KY jelly. This is some special electrical stuff, which probably just means I paid twice the price for it. So we have all our materials, and it's time to put our breaker in. Now, the thing you want to think about electrical is, how is someone going to break this and possibly sever a wire? So you want to make sure that your conduit is in a place where it's not going to get run into by a forklift. We do have to do run down the middle of our shop for a table saw, and in that instance I'm going to build a post around it that connects to the floor and to the ceiling. That's for another video, but you want to make sure that your electrical is always protected and grounded, so that way if it did, you know, if a wire became exposed and something became energized, that you're not going to kill somebody. So you want to make sure that where you're putting it is in a safe spot. And again, I'm not going to tell you what code is in your area, but you know, one thing you can do to save money is do 90% of what I'm doing here without terminating it, and then bring in a professional to check your work and terminate it. A lot of places require an inspection. Where I live, you can do owner builder, which means you can do the work yourself and then have a county inspector come out, which is what we're going to do. So let's get to putting in a breaker in the panel and running this conduit. Okay, so we identified that we want to go 10 inches down from the box before we make our first 90 here. On my bender, I have found through lots of trial and error, frustration, and curse words that if I take three inches off and line that up with this guy here, then I'm going to get right where I need to be. And it has degree measurements here on the side, so you can stop when you get to those. With this one, if you just go all the way, it's 90. So we're going to bend this, attach our screw connector to the box. We popped out our hole on the side of your box. You'll see these holes here, and you just pop those out with a screwdriver. You pop out the appropriate size, and we're going to put our screw connector here and run our pipe 90 degrees towards where we need our outlet to be. Now we're going to prep our junction box. I'm going to do that before I shoot the clips to the wall. You saw we have the laser level, which will make that nice and level. So I want to attach the box with everything level, because those clips have a tendency to suck your conduit to the wall. So we're going to attach our box first. It's the same thing as the panel, so we're just going to punch these out, twist them off, add our screw connector, attach it to our conduit. And then the important part here, though, is that we're going to add a ground screw to it. Now, the boxes don't come with a ground screw, but there is a spot for it. So we're going to add a ground screw to it, and later we're going to run our ground through this screw before we're going to our outlet. Okay, so we've ran our wires through, we've left ourselves plenty of room, so we're going to cut off some excess here, or in this case we'll pull it back through. But here's the beauty of 240. It doesn't matter which one these go to. These are both hot, they alternate each other, so there's no order in which they go. You cannot screw this up. So one thing that I know electricians like to see is 90-degree bends in the wire. So when you're running through your panel, the electricians like nice clean lineups here, so when you go to your ground, nice clean 90 degrees. We're going to strip off about 1/4 inch of each one of these. This is 12 gauge, so we're just going to give them here. I've got solid ground and stranded hot wires, red and black, and that's even probably a little extra, but we're going to attach our red and black to our breaker here. So that's a little long. I'm going to actually trim that up there. I can't believe it. but I completely forgot the most important thing in my materials list, which is cutters and strippers. These are some really nice Klein ones. You know, you can buy cheap ones at Home Depot too, but obviously buy once, cry once, right? And if you plan on ever installing outlets again, the extra $5–10 is well worth its weight in gold. So we stick that on the left side, so when we tighten, it kind of pulls it in. Now again, the beauty of 240 is it doesn't matter again. You have a green screw always, that is going to be your ground, and then you have 2 hots, and you can put either one, black, red. A lot of high-end or higher-end outlets are gonna have a strip gauge. It's gonna tell you exactly how long to strip your wire. This one, we're gonna strip, it looks like about 3/8 of an inch there, and then we're gonna turn that into a hook, wrap it around our screw. Again, going in from the left side, because when you tighten it's gonna suck it down. But before we trim these to length, first we're gonna put a little gap in our ground wire here, and that's going to go on our ground screw, and this is going to ground our box and our conduit. Down again, going in from the left, you can see as I get tight, it tightens in that screw there. And the one thing that you do want to kind of check when you're doing stranded wire is that you aren't stripping any of those individual wires out so they didn't get severed. See, actually I did cut a little bit of my black wire there. You can see when I stripped that, and that's no bueno, so we're going to redo that there. All right, so we're going to go ahead and put our 20-amp plug on. The great thing about 240 is there's a lot of different orientations of these plugs. Depending on what your outlet you're using will define the plug that goes on your tools. One thing to note is that green will always be ground, but depending on the country of manufacture of your tool, you may have a white wire instead of a red one in there. You just know that the other 2 wires are hot and green is ground. Now when you put this on, you want to put, this is the protective cover for the outlet, you put that on first, and that'll just drop down your cord. And then same thing as your outlets and your breaker, it's like green to ground, and then everything else, just get them in there, it doesn't matter. And this is why installing 240 outlets are so easy, is you really just can't mess them up. As long as you get green on ground, you're good to go. We're gonna go ahead and attach our ground like I was saying before. We're gonna get it into our ground bar here. And when you're reaching in a panel, you really want to make sure this thing is off. I have quadruple checked. I checked again before I did this, even though we know the panel is off. I don't know if for some, you know, at some point somebody came by and turned it back on, so I checked again. You want to assume your bus bar is hot, even if you know it's off. You just want to operate as though it is hot. And we're going to do the same thing here. Now the way this works is you touch this clip, there's like a plastic ridge here that this clips into, and these clip into your 2 hot spots on your bus bar. So we lost a spot because we removed a 3-phase breaker. So there's going to be a gap in our panel, but we're going to end up moving all these down here because I have several more to put in. We're going to remove all these 3-phase outlets. So I'm just going to go on top of this 3-phase one here. I'm going to make sure that my breaker's off, because the chances of you touching the wires while you're putting this in is pretty high. So you want to make sure your breaker's off. Clip it in. Now we're going to go turn back on the panel before flipping our breaker on. So if there's a problem down the line, we'll know that when we flip the breaker on, because the breaker won't flip. So we're not going to turn it on now before we turn the power on. We're going to leave it off, and then we're going to flip it on here in a second. So we're done. I've labeled my breaker. We have a gap here, which is a no-no. You can buy an insert for that if you are like me and you don't have this anymore. But we're gonna be adding more electrical, so no big deal. I wanna thank Chris for coming out and helping us. It was a lot of fun. And
my pleasure.
Saved my life. I mean, I could have been killed by that.
Hey, that was dangerous, man. You gotta watch out.
We're both dads, so we're allowed a good dad joke here and there. Guys, if you want to support the channel, support the charity, head over to the KM Tools store. We've got lots of new tools. We've released our Build Up initiative over there on charity, which is super cool. We've got a lot of new tools coming out in the near future. So go sign up for that newsletter if you want to get notified when those are available for pre-sale. And as always, stay safe in the shop. Thanks for watching.